Good morning, scoundrels, scallywags, rebels, and general troublemakers.
It is 7 o'clock at night.
It is 7 o'clock at night, but I said good morning because it's always morning somewhere, especially if you live in a galaxy with 2 billion planets. I'll actually make that 2 billion and one because we're about to add a new one to the list.
Shocking. That would be number 10.
Yeah, we will be at 10.
10th planet.
Welcome to I Rebel. I'm that Andrew guy that you've heard of before, and he is...
Arsenio Hall.
Hello, Arsenio.
James Rosile.
Arsenio, let me just say I miss your old haircut very much.
I miss hair.
You and me both, partner. We are plowing ahead. We are getting closer to the end of Season 2 of Rebels, and then we'll be doing Season 3, and we'll be really getting through that right up until Season 4 starts. We're going to get there. Trust me, we're going to be right on time. It's going to be beautiful.
October 16th. What?
October 16th. It's coming out soon, but not soon enough that we won't be ready for you guys. So let's dive right into I Rebel. We are at Season 2, Episode 14, Legends of the Lasat. This has a new planet in it. Let's get that right out of the way. We're now at 10 new planets. We have the planet Lyrasan, which is a holy, like a Xanadu kind of planet for these people. They believed it existed. Some people didn't. And it exists in like this weird wormhole thing. And you have to kind of fly through the wormhole to get to it. And so it's not, you can't just, hop on a bus and go to Lyrasan. It's a bit more complicated than that. So let's see what we got here.
You can't keep the ghost crew out, though.
No, you can't. You can't keep the ghost crew out of nothing. Those guys will get where they want to go. I wanted to give a shout out here to the composer. Again, I hope I'm getting his name right. Kevin Kiner. He outdid himself with the score during that whole scene when they're at this star cluster black hole thing. The music, while they were going through that hole, was beautifully haunting. Just like insanely good music.
This show as a whole has decent music.
It does. Like it has like a really good, decent original score. It has fantastic renditions of John Williams stuff. And then every once in a while, like this, it pulls out all the stops and it gives us something new that's just like, whoa, where did that come from? So good job, Kevin. You are a hell of a composer. Keep it up, buddy. Gary Anthony Williams, who was Bebop in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Out of the Shadows.
Great film.
Because Bebop was in it, and so is Rocksteady. Thank you so much for giving us that movie. He voices the other male Lasat in this episode. I just want to point that out because I love Out of the Shadows so much, and I know you do too. That I want to just get any shout out, any excuse to shout out to that movie.
Fantastic film.
Oh my god.
My number one viewed film on Netflix.
Really?
Well, I own both the Star Wars films,
Mm-hmm.
and so, but I don't own Out of the Shadows because I'm not gonna buy it till it's $10 on iTunes, and it was $10, and I missed it, and now it's like $17.99 Canadian, and I was like, no, I'm gonna wait till 10. So I just keep watching it on Netflix.
You know what? I have the movie, but I haven't seen the special features yet. I'm really curious to see what the process was, like where somebody finally woke up and said, "Hey, let's put those characters in that, were part of the most popular cartoon."
Well, Side Akbar, they did design them for the first Ninja Turtle movie.
Oh, did they? That's neat. I didn't know that.
And then they decided not to use them, so they brought them back. The only thing I will say about Out of the Shadows is Casey Jones' mask was a little, small. But it could have been like more of just the hockey stuff. Like it looked more like a Jason hockey mask, there's too much going on. It's like he just wears a simple hockey mask, like Jason, I should say.
Yeah, he didn't even wear it very much.
No,
if I remember.
and then when he did, she couldn't understand him.
Yeah.
Which made no sense because goalies wear masks and they talk to their team. But anyway, that's a small gripe. By the way, Casey Jones is always played by a Canadian unless he's animated.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
That's
Well, there's only 2 times he's been played live action.
You're going down, Lawbreaker. I love that cartoon.
Cartoon's always American, I think.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean,
that movie, whenever he's live action, you call in a Canadian to play a hockey player.
So, what's his face there from 1 and 3? He was a Canadian dude?
Yep. Elias Cortez, yeah.
Elias Cortez, yeah. Oh, I love that guy. Great. I'm glad he's Canadian. If he wasn't, I'd stop liking him immediately.
And you always get someone British to play every American superhero now.
That's right.
It's just how it works.
That's how it is now. That's the way the cookie crumbles.
And you get a white guy to play an Asian.
Yeah. Apparently that's how that goes.
Oh, Hollywood.
Now Zeb's bow rifle. It's quickly becoming one of the most interesting weapons for me in Star Wars. Like, I want to know, how does it work? What are the limitations of this thing? Because he literally picks up the bow rifle, sticks it into the cockpit, and uses it to steer them through this star cluster. As beautiful as that moment was, it raised a lot of questions, and I just want to be like, huh, what, WTF? Like, it's something that gnaws at me enough that I would consider, tweeting Pablo Hidalgo and being like, what's the deal? But also at the same time, it's something that I know his answer is going to be like, we don't know the limitations of his weapon, so who's to say that it can't pilot a ship? And I'll be like, thanks, Pablo. So I think I just answered my own question. You're welcome, Pablo. I did your job.
Who also is half Canadian.
Yay! I like you half more now than I did 5 seconds ago. So let's move on to episode 215, The Call, otherwise more infamously known as the Space Whales episode.
I like this episode. People complain about Rob, who was on a show with me earlier about Ahsoka a few months ago. He got a lot of trouble for it, but he won't even watch this episode.
He won't watch The Call?
He won't watch it because he's heard bad things about it. Or he heard it. I really liked it. I mean, I watch every episode of the show, so it doesn't really matter. But this one, I was like, I'm fine. I went into it, and I enjoyed it. There was nothing about it that I didn't. Well, I mean, there might have been something I didn't like, but there was nothing that really was like, oh, you ruined Star Wars.
So you know what this means? Because Rob has not watched The Call. Next time we do a trivia contest, half the questions will be from The Call.
Are you just bitter from 7 months ago when you lost to him because you got a little too cocky, kid?
I didn't pay attention to Han Solo's advice.
Yeah.
And it's okay. Next time. Next time, Rob.
That game was over.
Next time, Mr. Ward.
It was over and you went too far. Also, we lost count of the score. We should do another one soon.
Fun fact. Back when this was coming out, because I don't have Disney XD, it's tricky to get a hold of in Canada. It's a bit more expensive than it normally would be.
I have it.
James has it. I live in a basement apartment, so whatever cable I have is sort of at the mercy of what my landlord wants. So I can't just be like, hey, can we please have Disney XD? Like, if he says no, like, can't get it.
You're a grown man. You will not have Disney XD.
So I, in order to watch Rebels as it came out, I would have to watch it on streaming sites. I'm sorry. That's the only way I could watch it. Disney, you did not make it available for me. That was the only thing I could do. So there was a streaming site that I used to watch them all, and it wasn't a very good site. Like, I would still be watching it like a week later than anybody else. But there were some episodes that, for one reason or another, the streaming site just would not put up. Like, it was just they just didn't put it on there. And I apologize. I think I just popped the mic. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, you did.
And one of these episodes was, in fact, this one, The Call. So I missed out on.
Because Rob is in charge of that streaming
Rob
site.
is streaming, and he's like, you know what? No, it's not happening. So I missed out on The Call up until about 2 weeks ago when I actually watched it to do this episode with you. So I got to see it for the first time. We got the Purrgil. That's what the space whales are called. They're called Purrgil. I liked them.
So did I.
I thought it was a sweet episode. It was probably one of the more fillery episodes on the show. I'm not going to lie, but that's, they have been great with that. They've been great with taking filler and turning it into plot. So I'm going to...
There is a callback later on from this episode, I believe.
There must be. Season 3 is kind of vague for me now, but there must be. We meet the Mining Guild, and I love the Mining Guild simply because they have yellow TIE fighters.
Yeah.
They took TIE fighters, they painted them yellow. I want toys of that, man. That is so
Where are the
cool.
toys?
Where are the toys? Get on that, Hasbro. The yellow TIE fighters are great. The leader of the Mining Guild, he's a species I've never seen before. I don't know if you know.
Yeah, no, me neither.
He's he looks like he could be.
I'm sure he's around, but
yeah, he's got like things coming out like a Zoidberg kind of thing. I don't know. He's new. So the Purrgils now. Here's a question. They can travel through hyperspace. They're very magical. So again, what's their deal? Are we ever going to see them again? Are they important to the plot? Are they something that, are they like the Bendu? Are they just these crazy, inexplicable force beings that just exist because of force reasons?
I think they exist because Rebels need an episode for them to exist.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
Are they going to travel, forward in time and end up on Earth, and then we have Star Trek 4, The Journey Home? Is that what's going to happen?
I can't see why that wouldn't happen.
There we go. Crossover. It's gift wrap for you. You're welcome, Lucasfilm. So that's the call. Very little happened. Just a fun adventure with whales and with Ezra and Mining Guild and Yellow TIE Fighter. So it was just fun.
More enjoyable than you'd think it would be about a bunch of whales and Ezra.
Much more. And the whales are nice to look at, too. There's a cool design for them. And
Totally.
now we get to 216, Homecoming.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, I want to go on the record. I hate the title Homecoming for TV show episodes. I do, because I feel like every TV show I've ever seen has used that title as an episode.
I didn't like it for Spider-Man either.
I wasn't a fan of it for Spider-Man. And here in Canada, we don't have homecoming dances in high school.
We have prom.
We have prom, and I think we might have like a Christmas dance.
I don't know. I didn't go to dances.
Yeah, me neither. I didn't have dates for those. But still, like, there's no such thing as a homecoming dance up here. So to all my American homies watching, please chime in the comments. I want to know, what is a homecoming dance, and who is coming home and from where? What does that mean exactly? Please let me know, because I need to know at this point. So this is about Cham Syndulla, and he makes his return. He joins up with the team. He tries to save Ryloth, because there's a possibility that Ryloth is going to be bombarded from space.
I had a problem with this episode with Cham Syndulla. The Cham Syndulla. I did. I really did, because the Cham from Lords of the Sith is severely different from this Cham.
He's a lot more laid back, isn't he?
Yes. This Cham I did not like. Like, if he was the lead in Lords of the Sith, I would have been like, do not like this. Like, he's just like, I did not like the way he was at all in this whatsoever. And I believe he comes up later on. They kind of course correct his character a bit, but in this episode he felt like a completely different character.
He's a jerk in this episode.
Yeah, I didn't like it at all, especially because I read Lords of the Sith, months, but Cham Syndulla to me is this character from Lords of the Sith. He is the lead character in Lords of the Sith, and then you throw this at me after, and I'm like, whoa, these are two different beings right now. Like, this is, the continuity here is off, I felt.
Yeah, you're right. I think this is an example of the story group kind of slipping in terms of like, oh, I know this character already exists, so let's use him. But I think it feels like the writer of this episode didn't take the time. And to be honest, I don't know what came first, if it was this or Lords. I think it was the book.
I feel like it was a book, but I mean...
But like whoever came second didn't take the time to sort of look at what came first and be like, okay.
It had to have been a book, but because the book came out before season 1 or right at season 1, right? So they would have, well, maybe they were on the same time, but either way, this character could not be the lead in that book.
No, you're right.
You wouldn't follow him. You wouldn't care. You'd be like, I hope he dies. He's a jerk.
Yeah.
Like that.
He is almost the villain in this episode. Yeah. He is literally almost the villain.
Which would have been fine had we not been introduced to this character through Lords of the Sith.
Exactly. So this is just an example of sometimes the story group, they're humans. Sometimes they slip up, and that's cool. Like, just like, as long as they're aware that, like, hey, this is a bit of an inconsistency. This guy was a hero up until this point, and now all of a sudden he's not. But it's weird because the two Twi'leks who are with him, Gobi and Numa, I'm pretty sure they were in Lords of the Sith.
Yeah, me too.
Gobi, I know for a fact he was in it. I remember his name. He was like the big guy on their group. He was their muscle.
Yeah.
So they knew, like, there was research done like between this and Lord of the Sith. There was some sort of like cross-pollination where they're like, who do you have in your book? Let me use them. And Numa, by the way, which I didn't know until I read this afterwards, she was the little girl from Clone Wars that the clones saved. The little one with the doll who's like, Numa, that was her.
Nice.
I thought that was so neat. And she's voiced by the same actress who did her voice in Clone Wars, who is Catherine Tabor. She voices Padme as well. That's great. That is example of doing it right. That's like, hey, come on back. We know you. We had you for Clone Wars. Coming back and be this character again as an adult.
I'm trying to get the Family Channel.
Oh,
but I don't think it's Disney XD.
Good luck. One of my favorite things that they did in this episode that I know a lot of people were just like, huh, was Hera's accent. I'm Italian on my dad's side and Maltese on my mom's side. So, and James also, he comes from an Italian background. So we come from backgrounds where if not our parents, then like definitely our grandparents have strong accents. So
Mine didn't even speak English.
See, there you go. His grandparents didn't speak English. So when we converse with our elders in our family, typically, like you're hearing our normal voices right now. We just have Canadian accents. But when we're conversing with our grandparents or our parents, sometimes our heritage will slip out of our tongue. Sometimes we'll get a little bit, when I'm talking to my Italian, brethren, my Italian family, sometimes I get a little bit, hey, what are you talking about? What's going, like, sometimes that just slips
You
out.
sound like John Leguizamo in Super Mario Brothers movie.
Exactly.
Which you have not
Mario.
seen.
Luigi Mario. I have not seen it.
How could you not have seen it? It is the best movie ever made.
Do you own it?
On DVD.
Can I borrow
But
it?
you have a Blu-ray player?
Yeah.
If you have a Blu-ray player, it shows up this big on your TV set.
Oh my god.
Yeah, because it's like widescreen, but it's not real widescreen.
Well, I can
like
play it in
cropped.
my Xbox 360 that plays DVDs.
Yeah, I'll have to. I can't get it for you today, but I'll
Okay.
find it for you because it's hidden somewhere because it's Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, you didn't want to put that on display.
It is the best movie. Toad is in it, but you have to keep your eye out and listen because you'll never guess. It's seriously the worst. I go Mario Brothers, Ninja Two Out of the Shadows. These are my most watched movies of all time. Yeah. Anyway, it's awful. But you sounded like John Leguizamo from that movie.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. So it's something we can't help when we're speaking to our family.
or
That
yelling.
comes out.
Erin makes fun of me when I yell.
She like.
Yeah, because I get like an accent when I yell.
Because
Because I look
There we
very.
go.
But yeah, when I yell, I get this accent. She's like, "What?" She's gonna kill me for doing that.
So that's such a cool little human observation of life that they took and applied to this. Cham Syndulla, since we met him in Clone Wars, he's always had that accent, and a bunch of Twi'leks have had this sort of quasi-French accent going on. That's just what people on their planet sound like. Hera has had an American accent because, she's, maybe second or third generation. She's flying around with other people. So we haven't heard her speak in her homeworld dialect until she comes face to face with her dad and she's arguing. That's the trick. She's arguing with her father.
Which is what happens when I yell. Yeah.
Exactly. That's when the anger comes out, the passion comes out, and all of a sudden, this woman who has normally spoken in an American accent starts saying, "Father, how can you do this to me?" And like it's so real. It's such a realistic thing. I friggin' loved it. From the moment I saw this episode, however long ago that it aired, I was like, that is great. That is such an attention to detail that you wouldn't expect from anybody. So thank you so much, whoever came up with that. I don't know if it was Vanessa Marshall who decided to do that or if it was Filoni.
It was George Lucas.
It was George. I want you to have more of an
It was Colin Trevorrow. It was Trevorrow and Lord Miller got together when they're like, "Yo, she should have an accent."
They called up Josh Trank and they're like, "What do you think?"
And he was like,
He's like, "Oh, whatever, man, whatever.
"You do what you need to." Sorry, I don't know if he.
I'm gonna make Doctor Doom really young."
I honestly, man, the first half of that Fantastic Four film, I was having a fantastic time, and then it all just changed. Something just happened. They were like, "We totally forgot what we were doing." Here,
Yeah.
just whatever happens. I'm going to bed. That's how I really was on board. Like I remember watching, like, this isn't that bad. What happened? What happened?
I haven't watched it yet, but one day,
Oh,
just
you've never seen it?
out of morbid curiosity,
It's
I'll
literally
watch
like the first, like, I don't know, what, 45 minutes to an hour. It's not bad. You're like, this is pretty good. I'm enjoying it. And then it fades to black, goes 1 year later, and it just like it does. It's not a slow burn either. It's like, oh, this turned to garbage, and then the ending is like, terrible. Terrible. Because Doctor Doom young, for the first bit, you're like, okay, I believe, like, you just
It's
kind
Toby
of,
Kebbell, right?
yeah,
I love Toby Kebbell.
but you just kind of like go with it. You're like, yeah, I'm in, fine. Like, you just kind of accept it, and then, I mean, people might disagree, but then all of a sudden it's like, fast drop to the bottom, and it's just, and then to end it, it was like, what's the quickest way to get this? It reminded me of a Star Trek: The Next Generation show episode when they were like, "Okay, this was a cool build-up. We have 5 minutes to wrap the show up. Wrap it up now." And they're like, "It's over," and you're like, "What?"
Oh,
Like, that's how I
no.
felt. But I recommend watching the first. Once it says a year later, just turn off. You're done.
That's it.
Just know that they win and just leave. Like, just look, everything's gonna be okay. Just wrap it up.
It's gonna be okay. They're not gonna lose.
Yeah.
I remember just being weirded out by the trailers for it because Sue Storm's dad sounded like a monster. I mean, he was narrating.
Well, he's the head scientist. But here's the thing: everything from the trailer is not in the movie, so you don't. It doesn't even matter.
Oh, well, just like
nothing from the trailers in the movie.
I was like, okay, this guy's a scientist. He's apparently like he's not a villain, right? Sue Storm's dad is not a villain in that movie. But like the voice that man had was just like, "You will be the Fantastic Four," and I'm like, Jesus, like who is this? Why is this scientist?
No,
sound
that
like
doesn't happen. They don't become Fantastic Four till like after they save the day, I think. And then I think it's Miles Teller's like, well, with the Fantastic. I can't remember exactly. I might be completely off, but that doesn't. Nothing happens in the trailer that is in the movie. Like nothing happens. Which I was like, but the first 4 minutes, you're like, I'm totally on board with this. And then I don't know what happened. It just like literally is like a year later, and we like the cast is awesome. It looks fine.
Yeah, I would watch it solely for Toby Kebbell and Michael B. Jordan because I love both those guys. Like that's
Yeah, they're both good.
that would get me on board.
Michael B. Jordan. Okay, his character stays okay through pretty much all of it. Doom, you're kind of like what the f. Anyway, let's move on.
Does he have the mask at least?
Oh,
that's not a good answer.
Yes,
that's not a good
it's
answer.
like yes, but I think you're so taken out of it. It's not this. I think it's similar. Is it better than the other Fantastic Four Doom? Maybe, I don't know. You know, I saw it like 2 years ago, but it's on Netflix. Just put it on.
Wow.
Just put it on and fast forward to the end so you can see Doom's demise. And it's still bad. Anyway, it would have been a great Boba Fett film.
It would have been. Yeah. 217, The Honourable Ones. This is another one that I missed out on because of that streaming website. And I am very, very upset that I missed out on it because it is absolutely fantastic. This is the episode where Zeb and Agent Callus get stranded on a moon of Geonosis, and they have
you missed this one.
I missed this one entirely back in the
I don't
day.
know why it took me 4 minutes to clue in that you completely missed it. Because this is the beginning of the new arc for Callus.
Yeah.
It's the beginning of the end of Callus, if you will.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was, wow, this episode just like, this is in my top 5 of the show already. I love when enemies become friends. I mean, I love when it happened on Rocky, with Rocky and Apollo. With in the last Airbender with Aang and Zuko. Like I love when you have these great villains who are great as villains, who sort of, step into the world of the heroes and become even more interesting as a hero. That to me is just a great storyline for anything. So whenever it happens, I'm on board. Now we got a nice little taste of Geonosis. All its people are already gone. I really want to know the timeline of like when the Geonosians were gassed or whatever it was, because I don't think we have that.
Is it Krennic, the guess?
I think it was. I think in Catalyst.
Well, we know that there is a survivor. Spoiler alert.
It gives us a little bit of a time frame though regarding when exactly they all went extinct, but not too much. Also, Callus, it's revealed here, he doesn't know about the Death Star. The Death Star is super, and he is ISB. He is like the CIA of the Empire, and he doesn't even know about the Death Star. So that's how secret this project was. Saw Gerrera and the Insurgents, they got name dropped, which means tutus. James hates
and
tutu.
Ezra joins the Insurgents.
He does. He's going to have a black helmet and everything. Now, because Saw Gerrera got name dropped, it got me thinking, and I did some research. This episode aired February 24th of 2016, which is almost a year before Rogue One came out. So I don't know when Saw was announced to the public as a character in that
After
movie.
that.
It was after that. So they were really planting seeds nice and early, which was great.
Yeah.
So good job, Honourable Ones. And then finally you go...
This is the thing, though, but then they screw up on Cham.
They screw up with Cham.
Come on, guys.
Maybe
you're crushing it here and you're destroying it.
Cham was the last episode, so maybe like all their...
Also,
all
Cham is a character, I mean, yeah, we, is not the same, whatever, but...
yeah.
But it's a book, and maybe they're just like, the book people, and that they're not always the same. We'll just let it slide. It's like it's safe to slide. Whereas if you brought Leia in and Leia became a huge biatch,
Yeah, then
that's
like,
a different
whoa.
story, right?
But we get this beautiful story at the end of this all with Zeb and Callus in this cave. Of course, they hate each other at first because they've been rivals for the whole series. And now they put aside their differences and they're like, we have to get out of this ice cave before monsters eat us and before we freeze to death. and they work together. And it's not easy. It's the way they get out of this cave is almost physically impossible. It's like every Assassin's Creed character I've ever known probably couldn't have done what they did, but they got out. That's okay. They got out. I'll forgive them. And then we get that beautiful moment that, like I said, I'm not usually a verbal reactor when I'm watching things. Like, it takes something crazy to make me actually, like when I'm sitting there watching a movie or TV show, it takes something of significance to make me yell out or be like, oh, wow. Like, but that happened at the end of this episode for me when Callus sees Zeb reunite with the Ghost Crew. And the Ghost Crew is ecstatic. They're like, oh my God, Zeb, we thought you were dead. They're all hugging him. They bring him on the ship like, come on, are you cold? They put a blanket around him. And like they take him back in and they fly away. And then Callus gets picked up by the Empire. And he's back on I think he's on a Star Destroyer or something. And he's back on a ship. And he's happy to be alive. And he walks down the hall. And Constantine is coming down the hall. And Callus is like, hey, Constantine. Like, all he says is like hello to Constantine just as like like just to say like, hey, I'm back. Like I got out okay. Constantine is like looking at a data pad or something. And he's like, Agent Callus, hello. And he just keeps walking. And that made me like lean forward in my chair. And I was just like, oh, you can see in Callus's face. He's like, he realizes in that moment, these people don't give a damn about me. They don't. And then the episode ends with him going into his bunk by himself and just sitting on his bed and just staring off into space. Like I can't stress enough how insanely good that is for a cartoon. Like it breaks my heart, and I'm happy to know that Callus is where he is now. Without giving too much away, I'm happy.
We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. I'm happy to know that Callus has evolved since this episode. So kudos, Filoni and company. Kudos to the writers. Kudos to David Oyelowo for this amazing performance he did as Agent Callus.
Great.
He's so cool. And he's never in any of the extras. When I watch like Rebels Recon on the DVD, they talk to the cast a lot. He's never there. I just want to hear his point of view, what he thinks about playing Callus, hopefully one day. But that's this episode of I Rebel. And we got one more until we're done season 2.
The best is yet to come.
Oh, hell yeah.
Call me Old Master.
Old Master. So strap yourselves in and get ready, because next week we'll be hitting you up with the finale of season 2.
Getting ready for season 3 and 4.
I Rebel.
Hey scumbags, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.